Welcome, guys. It is so good to be back. It's been felt like it's been a really long 2 weeks since I've been last time with you guys. Welcome to Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. My name is Christian Harvey. Again, super glad to be on with you guys yet again. Oh, hold on, look at that. Time out. First segment of the day, we're going to go into Four Nations. USA just scored. We're looking at 1-1 right now. We're going to go into more about that in a little bit. That just happened right when I was doing this. Wow. Awesome. 1-1. Taryn, thank you. Excited to be back on. I feel like I've said that a lot of times. Just, again, when I didn't do the show last week, it just felt like it's been an extremely long 2 weeks. But I'm super glad to be here. We got a lot to discuss, a lot of news to catch up on, especially between the Pistons and the Tigers. We're also going to be looking at the big game we got going on tomorrow between Michigan and Michigan State. But again, we got a loaded show. For those that are watching the Four Nations Face-Off Championship, thank you for tuning into my show as well. I know we're kind of multitasking. I'll be doing the same as we go on throughout the show. Like I said, that's what we're going to leave the show off with, because our boy Dylan Larkin, he's on Team USA. He made an impact on the last game against Canada, so we'll be going about that a little bit. Once again, you're watching Gritsville USA here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be back after this.
IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. IE Sports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, IE Sports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
All right, guys, welcome back to Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Once again, my name is Christian Harvey. Super glad to be back on with you guys on our new night now. We transitioned from Wednesday nights to Thursday nights, just with a change in work schedule. Thursday nights are now my available night. So we're now here on Thursdays. But again, super glad to be with you guys, especially since I couldn't be on last week. Had to cancel last minute the show, but we're here now. Super glad to be here. You guys know the drill. Make sure to follow us on X, Twitter, whatever you call it, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube at IE Sports Radio. Also find our website, iesportsradio.com. There you'll find my show and all the other great shows we got. We're going to continuously keep getting new shows on, so make sure to check not only my show out, but all the other great ones we got going on. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you got me at Gritsville_IESR. For the show page, and then if you guys want to follow my own personal page, that's at ch_Alexander_97. That's a mouthful, I know. And then something new and exciting that we are doing through Spreaker. We now have a supporters club going on, not only for my show, but for all the other shows. You can see the link down in the bio, or in the bio. I say that as if I'm looking at my Twitter page. No, you can see the link down at the ticker. Go to Spreaker.com. There you can find Gritsville USA. Just for $5 a month, you can support the show. That'd be a great help, not only to myself, but to the show as well, if you guys do feel so inclined. But yep, links down at the bottom, or go to Spreaker.com. Just type in Gritsville USA, and you'll find us there. All right, so as you guys saw in my intro, we got interrupted by a goal by Team USA. Brady Tkachuk scored, and now we're looking at 1-1. But I do want to talk about Team USA a little bit tonight. I know this is the Michigan-based show, but I got to discuss it because our boy Dylan Larkin is in there, the Wings captain. He is on Team USA, and he definitely made his presence felt that first game against Canada. So, like I said, right now Team USA is currently playing Team Canada in the Four Nations Face-Off Championship, the other two nations being Finland and Sweden. Quick side note, Lucas Raymond, beloved scorer of the Wings. He was playing for Team Sweden this tournament. He got 3 assists the other night and what I believe was the game, Sweden's last game. They almost could have made the finals. I forgot what scenario happened to where Canada made it. But Lucas Raymond was also representing for Sweden. They were just Raymond and Larkin were the only 2 Wings playing in this tournament. The rest of the Red Wings right now are getting prepared for the basically kick off of the second half of the season this Saturday. But yes, Team USA scores now 1-1. Canada got the early hand. Nathan McKinnon, he got a quick goal. But like I said, Brady Tkachuk just had it up. First period just ended. But like I had discussed, Dylan Larkin did make his impact felt the other night in the first game against Canada. He actually ended up scoring what would be the game-winning goal. Team USA won 3-1. But his goal made it 2-1. Canada never scored again, so that ended up being the game-winning goal. He also got an assist on that third kind of nail-in-the-coffin goal. It's been exciting to see. He's been getting a lot of love, especially since that game. Super excited for him because he's been the captain of almost a basement-dwelling team in the NHL. Like, yes, the Wings are historic. When you think NHL, the Red Wings are one of the first teams you think of, if not probably the first thing you think of when somebody talks about the NHL. The Wings are there. Their legacy is unpronounced, but for those, in the D, like we know how bad it's been for the Wings until quite literally recently, with the Todd father coming in and kind of saving, at least for this season, saving the city from itself with how much we were just despising the Wings. Those that have watched this show before knew very early on in the show I had some choice words for the Wings. That kind of had changed over time because they fired Derek Lalonde, we brought in Todd McClellan, and things just started getting better. But the point is, it was just so nice to see Dylan Larkin get some love. He's a phenomenal player, phenomenal talent. I mean, he's the Wings captain for a reason, but it's good to just finally see him get that national love, that national spotlight that this tournament is providing him. And, it's funny when this thing was about to kick off, nobody's going to tune in for this. Nobody cares. And then now it's the whole talk of the country. Now, granted, the Four Nations face off, half of the talk is for other stuff that I don't really care to discuss. Those that know. But still, we have a lot of pride in our country sports team. I have a lot of pride with Team USA basketball, Team US soccer. Regardless of whatever your politics are or what you think about this country, when it comes to the sports teams, like, a lot of people don't mess around. Like, this is who we have representing us, and probably better suited so. But like I said, I'm hoping to see Larkin make an impact tonight. I mean, how great would it be if he ended up getting another game-winning goal tonight? Like I said, we're going to be following along as the show goes on. I'm not going to talk about, I'm only really going to interject if Canada scores or if the U.S. scores or if Dylan Larkin does something cool. I'll just be like, oh, real quick, we got this going on. But yes, we have the second period starting in about 9 minutes, but wanted to give a quick update with that. Again, I'm sure probably majority of you guys watching currently also have that on, just like how I do while I'm doing this show. But yes, Dylan Larkin, let's make some noise again, buddy. Let's make some noise again. Pivoting real quick, we are going to talk about the Tigers next. Now, part of me was upset that I didn't do the show last week, because last week was finally the day that Alex Bregman decided to sign with the team. And for those that are unfamiliar, I don't know how you would be, but Bregman didn't sign here. Tigers ended up finishing second in the Bregman race. He ended up going with the Boston Red Sox, 3-year, $140 million, $120 million deal. That equates to about $40 million a year that he's getting from the Red Sox. As you can see in the ticker from the bottom, the Tigers finished second in the race. We had offered a 6-year, $171 million. I should have rounded up to 171. My apologies, but it was a 6-year, $171 million contract. Which it was funny because, again, the last show that I did 2 weeks ago, I had discussed, early on in the offseason, I was like, okay, let's get Alex Bregman here. The connections were there, the connection between him and AJ Hinch. It just kind of seemed like a natural fit. We had a need at third base. That's what he primarily plays. So the Tigers all offseason, for the most part, have been the favorites. Then you had teams like, I think the Yankees were in there for a second. Then you had the Blue Jays, the Cubs, and then inevitably the Red Sox themselves. And a lot of reporting came to be like, all right, it's just between the Tigers and the Cubs. The Red Sox were rumored to be pursuing Nolan Arenado from St. Louis. Just kind of like a trade is in frame, it's there in case Bregman goes elsewhere. So then when I finally got the notification and I saw the first thing that popped up on my phone was Bregman signs. I'm like, oh boy, this is it. And then I saw with the Boston Red Sox and I'm like, what? And then I saw what the contract details were, and that had me even more like, what? Because for the longest time, Alex Bregman was like, and his agent, Scott Boras, they're like, we care about term. We want term. And he set up for 3 years. Yes, that contract is $120 million. The Red Sox are giving him $40 million a year. He has 2 opt-outs built into that contract, but you're not getting the term. And now the belief is he has an opt-out after his first year with the Red Sox. A whole lot of things came into play of okay, he didn't choose Detroit because of the Comerica Park dimensions. For those that are aware or that aren't aware, Comerica Park is one of the deepest ballparks in all of baseball. hitters don't really like playing here. It's very much a pitcher's park, and Bregman is starting to be on the wrong side of 30, and he's kind of betting on himself here with the Red Sox because for those familiar with Fenway Park, their outfield isn't really that deep. He can easily hit a lot of home runs there as opposed to hitting a good amount with the Tigers. Now, Scott Boras made some interesting comments saying like, oh, yeah, we did this deal, but maybe we'll revisit next year with Detroit. Like, he really wanted to be here. It just kind of came down to this and that. And then you had Scott Harris, and, bless his heart, he just called out Bregman and Boras for what it was, saying, listen, we made the offer. This is what it was. We want players that want to be here. So the whole Bregman betting on himself, is he gonna opt out of his first year, in hopes for a bigger contract, maybe with Detroit? It's not going to happen with Detroit. I can tell you right now that is done. Scott Harris is not going to revisit that next season if it gets to it. Because, yeah, like I said, Bregman is betting on himself to have a pretty big year, to opt out of that contract in hopes of landing a bigger one that's going to give him that term and then give him potentially even more money. It is what it is. I've talked about before. I think the Tigers can still win the AL Central without him, and I still even think the Tigers can win the the American League in general without him. I had talked about how there was no team in the American League that got better. I have to change my tune because, yes, the Red Sox did get better, but there is a little caveat to that, and that's going to go into my next segment. The next segment being, and you'll see where I'm going with this. Could the Tigers still make a move for third base? So as things currently stand right now, the Tigers have a couple different options for third base. We have Jace Young, Matt Vierling, and then there's even reports coming out of spring training now that Hao-Yu Lee, he was the third baseman that we got in the trade for Michael Lorenzen 2 seasons ago from the Phillies. He was in Double-A all last year, but he was having a stellar season with the Seawolves, and now he's making kind of himself known at spring training. They're like, oh, maybe this kid could be ready for third base. But obviously, the Tigers were willing to spend the money on Bregman. Maybe, not the money that Bregman wanted apparently, but they had shown that they were willing to spend the money. There are a couple options out there that the Tigers could still pursue for third base. The first one that comes to mind is the name that the Boston Red Sox had in their mind for backup, which was Nolan Arenado. Third baseman for St. Louis, longtime Colorado Rockies player. Phenomenal with the Rockies. When he signed with St. Louis, he kind of fell off a little bit. And then definitely, last season was his worst with St. Louis. But he's still, I think he's 33, 34. And it's still there. Maybe he just needs a new situation. Maybe he just needs to be somewhere new. That's the name. Another name that comes up is Alec Baum from the Philadelphia Phillies. He's been a name that's kind of come up little by little, not with just the Tigers, but just kind of in the trade market in general. He could be on the move, solid third baseman. But then this is the one that's very interesting. Based on what is going on currently with the Boston Red Sox. So the Boston Red Sox already had a third baseman in Rafael Devers. The previous GM promised you're going to be in third base. That's the only position you're going to play. The belief was that Alex Bregman was going to come in and potentially move to second. But now, Cora, Alex Cora, I think his name's Alex Cora. Cora, it doesn't matter. He is now the manager of the Red Sox. And he basically already has Alex Bregman at third base. And now saying Rafael Devers is going to play DH. He's going to be DHing. Problem is, Rafael Devers has no desire or intention to play designated hitter. So now there's kind of this whole tension thing going on between Devers and the Red Sox because they brought Bregman in. And it's kind of like, first of all, very surprising that you would sign Alex Bregman and not immediately be like, all right, you're either going to be second base, DH, because we had third base covered with Devers. But now the Red Sox are like, nope, sorry, Devers. You're going to be DHing. He doesn't want to. And if I had to choose between either player, I would choose Rafael Devers all day. He has a better bat, and he's not on the wrong side of 30. I believe Rafael Devers is only 27 or 28. So he's got a couple years beneath Bregman, and he's not coming off a pretty terrible season like how Bregman has just had. So you're looking from the outside in, like, why are the Red Sox favoring Bregman over Devers? And then you see a report from Sports Illustrated saying that the favorites to potentially trade for Rafael Devers, if it gets to that point, are the Tigers themselves. So, listen, if you ask me, I would happily give up some prospects. I don't know who it's going to take. I would happily give up some prospects to land Rafael Devers. I really would. Devers, I think, is a way better player than Alex Bregman. And it just seems like every day that's going on with the Red Sox is just getting worse and worse because nobody on the organizational side of things are backing up from, hey, Devers, you are going to be playing DH. And he's just not happy about it because of a promise that a former general manager had for him. So we'll see. I highly doubt it's going to get to that point, but it's interesting. He's a name now that's out there. Because the tensions are getting that bad. We're approaching the regular season, and the Red Sox are already on a bad foot with arguably the best player on the team. So we're going to see what happens with that. But then we also have another name outside of third base. But we're talking about legitimate star. We're talking Miguel Cabrera level type of power. But it would also take a Miguel Cabrera type of trade to land him. So the Toronto Blue Jays and first baseman Vladimir Guerrero Jr., they couldn't come to an agreement on an extension. He is up for a new contract after this upcoming season. And it seems like they're not going to be talking at all about contracts during the season. So the Blue Jays are now at risk of, okay, we could potentially lose this guy because once free agency next year hits, we're now going to be going up against 29 other teams for his services. And he might not be all for that. So, will the Tigers be a major player in the looming Vladimir Guerrero Jr. sweepstakes? Detroit media has been talking about it somewhat. He's going to be the big fish. He's going to be the big fish. If you make a trade for him, that is a signal of our time is now. Because guess what? If you trade for Vladimir Guerrero Jr., you are going to have to give up a lot of prospects. He's not going to come cheap. And not only are you giving up prospects, you got to get him to want to sign here and get essentially a lifetime contract with him. I'm talking Miguel Cabrera level, nearly 10 years, and agrees this amount of money that might bite you in the ass towards the end of it. That's what it's going to take. If any team's going to trade for him, it's not going to be for a rental. It's going to be a team that is ready and prepared to sign that contract for him. Larry, I mean, I do agree. I really do think, going back to the Devers thing real quick, I would love it. Don't get me wrong. I would love to have him at third base. The power is there. And yeah, like I was saying, he's completely pissed off that Bregman's not playing third. Again, I don't know what the Red Sox were thinking with that. Terrible management of that whole situation. You could have Bregman. You could have signed Bregman and be like, listen, you're going to play second, DH, whatever. We already got a third baseman. I don't know what you're doing already promising a player a certain position that arguably your best player already has. Like, yeah, I think the whole discussion, I'm not gonna pretend like I know the Red Sox all that much. The only thing I'm aware of is that Devers can hit. I don't know what he's like defensively, and maybe that's the issue. Maybe they think for some other reason Alex Bregman is a Gold Glove defender. I'm not denying that. He has the glove. But and maybe he's better than Devers at that, and that's why they're making that change. But Devers is like, no, this is my position. It was promised to me. And yeah. And lastly, yeah, I would love to see him come here too. Don't get me wrong. I want that kind of more than anything. But the only thing I would want more than that, again, would be Vladimir Guerrero Jr. This is another. I don't see it happening. I think honestly the most likely scenario is that the Blue Jays convince him to stay. The Blue Jays have shown willingness to spend money. I mean, they were a finalist for Shohei Ohtani. They were in the Bregman sweepstakes. They were also in on Soto, if I'm not mistaken. They have the willingness to spend the money. It's not. Nobody wants to go there. I think Canadian taxes are kind of what's keeping some players away. But for the Blue Jays, it's kind of a death sentence on their organization. If you put yourself out there for these other free agents, and if you can't retain your own star, how is that going to look to anybody else in free agency? If you're like, hey, do you want to come to Toronto? And they're going to be like, you couldn't even keep your own guy. So I mean, the Guerrero thing it's a pipe dream. I couldn't go without saying it because that's kind of been the talk of Tiger Town this week. But I don't see a scenario, honestly, where Toronto doesn't get him back. Toronto kind of has to. At this point, Toronto just kind of has to give him a blank check and be like, write your number, and we want you here. Because that will be devastating for their organization if they lose him. But it could also be fun for the Tigers if they can somehow make it happen. If Guerrero's like, absolutely not, I'm not coming back to Toronto. You guys are done. I have no intention of playing with you guys ever again after this season. I would love the Tigers to jump in there and be like, hey, we got Kevin McGonigal. We got this guy. We got that guy. I think no matter what, even if it's for Devers or if it's for Guerrero, you got to keep on to Max Clark. But there's other guys that are kind of expendable in there. I mean, we have the second best ranked farm system in the entire league. I think, funny enough, the first team I think is the Red Sox themselves, if I'm not mistaken. I'd be entirely wrong. I just know we got the second best. So the Tigers, even if it's not for Devers or Vladimir Guerrero, Tigers can make some trades happen. And they've shown the willingness to spend the money. Now, there's been a report that, going back to Bregman real quick, that Boris and Bregman were like, listen, we'll go with you guys. We like the term. Give us $15 million more and we'll sign with you guys. And Scott Harris kind of wouldn't budge on that. I don't know if it's true. I just saw it out there. But it's kind of interesting to know. Ooh, Canada almost scored. It's just kind of interesting that $15 million is rumored to have been the breaking point of talks between the Tigers and Bregman. But lastly, with the Tigers, we got spring training baseball back. We got spring training going on. And Kenta Maeda is taking the mound against the Phillies for the first game this Saturday. For those that remember, Kenta Maeda, we signed him last year to a 2-year deal. He was ass, just to say the least. He was pretty terrible last year when he was starting. It was batting practice for whatever team was facing against him. We ended up moving him over to the bullpen, and he actually did pretty well in the bullpen. He didn't play at all in the playoffs, but for the rest of the regular season, when he got bumped over to the bullpen, he did shockingly really well. He's getting the start because AJ Hinch would just straight up and be like, listen, he's the guy that has the most to prove right now. It didn't work well for him last year. He's got to show that he still has to be a part of this team, that he wants to be a part of this team. And early reports coming from spring training is that he's off to a pretty solid start, like with just the practices and everything. And AJ Hinch said himself that he's going to get the start on Saturday because he's the most prepared to do so. And that's credit to the amount of work that he's been putting in. He's definitely a bounce back candidate. I mean, he's been a pretty decent. Oh, US almost scored. But Kenta Maeda's been a pretty solid pitcher for majority of his career. He's not all-star level. He could have probably have an all-star in there as well, but he's not like one of those top guys, but he's serviceable. Last year, he wasn't serviceable. So the question is, can we make him serviceable again? But we'll get the first look at him with spring training. I didn't have this set up as a ticker point, but I wanted to bring it up. Spencer Torkelson is definitely on his last chance, whatever you want to call it. Like, this is it. This spring training and potentially beginning of the season is it for him. He already doesn't have an everyday position anymore because of Cole Keith moving to first due to the Gleyber Torres signing. He's now a second. This is it for Spencer Torkelson. And it's already not off to a good start where the Tigers are going to technology to help their team, find ways to be better. Tech can do a lot nowadays. And Spencer Torkelson was like, nah, I trust myself. And it's like, my brother in Christ, we don't even trust you. What makes you think you can trust in yourself to make things better? Oh, there's a fight. Nice. But anyways, this is it for Spencer Torkelson. I'm personally done with them. I think if you can make a trade happen for either, a Devers or even an Arenado, that you make him part of that package. If he wants to go to, if another team wants him, I could care less if he pops off with them. It's not happening in Detroit. I think Torkelson is definitely done. It's over. It's time to move on and cut the cord. Yeah, Kachuk's in there. Man, I'm telling you, we're going to be constantly breaking the show just to see what's going on in this game right now. And a fight almost broke out. I love this. I love hockey fights. They're the best thing ever. But yeah, Torque, last chance. Prove me wrong. That's the thing I love staying in the show the most. Prove me wrong. Kenta Maeda, also prove me wrong. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we got some Pistons talk coming on. I'm super excited about the Pistons again, man. I've talked about it before. I'm just super amped up for them. But once again, we're going to take a quick break. Tune into the Four Nations face-off. Hopefully we get a goal in between the break. But you guys are watching Gritsville USA right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We'll be back after this.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hey, yo, what's good, Georgia? It's your boy ACS, and if you love sports from the Peak State as much as I do, then Georgia Sports Central is your one-stop destination for down south sports, courtesy of IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you a Yellow Jacket at heart, or do you bleed the red and black of the Bulldogs? Do you keep it true to Atlanta with Trae Young, Capella, and the boys? Do you rise up with the Dirty Birds on Sundays? Are you excited to see what the future holds for Michael Penix Jr., Bijan, and the rest of the Falcons squad? Do you live at 755 Battery Avenue? Do you rep for Albies, Acuna, and the rest of Braves country? If so, then let's get united every Wednesday for some Braves, Hawks, UGA, Georgia Tech, Atlanta Dream, Falcons, and more on Georgia Sports Central, only on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Are you a fan of Minnesota sports? Do you love the Vikings and hate the Packers? Are you a fan of the Timberwolves, Twins, Wild, Lynx, St. Paul Saints? Here on the Bold North Breakdown, we'll talk about all of those professional teams as well as all the college teams in the area. That's your basketball teams, football, hockey, volleyball, men's and women's sports alike. We talk about them all. You're on the Bold North Breakdown. Join me, your host, Glenn Ritter, every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central to discuss all that is happening in the Minnesota sports scene. Here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
All right, guys, welcome back to Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We're going to take the next few minutes right now. We're going to talk about the new hottest ticket in town, the Detroit Pistons. Detroit Pistons are a fun time, man, let me tell you. We are just coming off the All-Star break, and the Pistons right now, they're sitting at 29-26. They're right in a 4-game winning streak, and including what was a absolute domination of the Chicago Bulls on, I think, the second to last game before the break, just absolutely thrashed them. That's always a good thing to see, good fun time to see, but it's crazy. You know, we're going to go more a little bit of what the Pistons are looking to do. Because the Pistons could be a historic team this year, and I'll explain in a bit. But the Pistons are looking to be historic. And I think they have a very good chance at doing so. But again, they're currently at 29-26. They're sitting 6th in... Oh, did we just score? Team USA just scored. Timeout. Who was it? Was it Larkin? I just looked out the corner of my eye and I just see a shot go in. We're on quick timeout, guys. Again, you know this show. We love to live react over here. Is that Kachuk again? No, I think that was Matthews. I think that was awesome. I can't see who it is. We'll find out in a second. But yeah, we're looking at 2-1. I still don't know who it is. I feel like everybody touched the puck right there. Chat, help me. Who scored? Who scored that goal? Anyways, I'll see it in a second. What were we talking? Oh, yeah, we're talking Pistons. We're having a good time with the Pistons. Yeah, so the Pistons, they're currently 6th. Jake Anderson? Sanderson? Jake Sanderson. There we go. All right, that's who's going to go. Yes, Pistons were currently sitting at 6th. They're a game back of the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Bucks are an interesting team to talk about right now. The Milwaukee Bucks, for those that follow NBA news, they just had a suspension come their way with somebody very important on their team. Bobby Portis Jr., he got suspended for arguably the remainder of the season, 25 games, and I know there's 27 games left in the Pistons season, but I think it's the same for everybody else. The Bucks are playing right now against the Clippers. I think they're losing right now. But they just lost Bobby Portis Jr., some drug suspension, and I saw what it was. And the NBA is very much like the NFL, real quick. With they just kind of need to revisit their suspensions because it really seemed like it was an accidental. Damn, who just slid their face across the ice? It just seemed like it was a very nitpicky thing. It was some pain reliever that apparently was accidentally administered to him. But he got 25 games, and meanwhile, I think Miles Bridges of the Charlotte Hornets got 10 games for beating up his girlfriend. Kevin Porter Jr., who I think is Bobby Portis Jr.'s teammate. I think Kevin Porter's with Milwaukee. I don't think did he get suspended? Either way, 25 games for something that's barely an illegal substance is ridiculous when you have other players beating on their significant others and getting less than. But that's besides the point. What does this mean for the Pistons? So again, Bobby Portis Jr., he's a very important part to the Bucks team. He's somebody who averages nearly 14 points a game, 8 rebounds a game, and he plays a very significant part of the game. He's a starter. He takes up 25 minutes a game. So that's 25 minutes that the Bucks don't really have anybody for. You just traded away Chris Middleton and got Kyle Kuzma. Where are they going to make that spot up? And if I'm not mistaken, I think Giannis is also hurt, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but the point still stands. The Bucks have to get production from somewhere, and I don't think they have anybody that can be a Bobby Portis Jr. for them. So they're going to regress a little bit. Again, the Pistons are only a game back of the Bucks right now. So the Pistons sitting at 6th, they could very well go up to 5th. Give it like a few games, they could be sitting 5th in the East. And even then, I don't even think Indiana's all up that much in the standings. Indiana is only up a game and a half of the Pistons. If Indiana decides to, falter a little bit, the Pistons could be sitting at 4th in the Eastern Conference, which is absolutely asinine to think about, that the Pistons could be in that spot. Absolutely crazy. And it's just, oh my God. I'm just going to go right on to the next segment. That the Pistons are not only on pace to break an NBA record, but on pace to set one as well. And what that record is, and this is what I saw from the Detroit Free Press. I think it was Sean Windsor that wrote it. The Boston Celtics, the 2007 to 2008 Boston Celtics. Celtics had, I think, a 25-game record swing going from 2007 to 2008. After that 2007 season, they traded for Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett, and then they ended up. Oh, I thought we were about to score again. Who? They traded for Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and they won the NBA Finals. Now, what I'm about to say, the Pistons are. I don't think the Pistons are going to win the Finals, but still, that was a 25-game swing. The Pistons could beat that. They are on pace to beating that. They are on pace to, I think, finish with 44 wins, which would put them at a 26-game swing of that record. So, one game above Boston for the most win improvement. Hey, there's that boy, Dylan Larkin. They just showed him on TV for a sec. And why this is significant. So the Boston Celtics aren't the only team. There's been other teams with lesser amount of games of where they're terrible one season, then the next they're a lot better. But here's the difference with, and I'm just going to use the Celtics for an example of this, between the Celtics, the 2007, 2008 Celtics, and the now Detroit Pistons. As I had mentioned, the Celtics had traded for Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett. I believe that same year where they were terrible, I think Paul Pierce was injured, so they really had nobody. 2008 Celtics come along, and all of a sudden you have the first ever Big Three in all basketball, and they won the NBA Finals. Cool. This Pistons team, who did they get to get better? They got Malik Beasley. Like, yeah, that's one. You got Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., but these are not Ray Allen, Kevin Garnett type of players that you're getting onto your team. Not only that, but you also lose Jaden Ivey about a quarter of the way through the season. Halfway through the season. And yet here they are, 29 and 26 currently, and you have a very good chance of finishing 4th in the Eastern Conference. But not only that, the Pistons were a 14-win team last year. I think that Boston Celtics team, the year before the Big Three, I think they had won 28. They won 28 games. The rest were losses. I don't know what that equates out to in an 82-game season, but they had 28 wins. The Pistons had less than that. Way less than that. Half less than that. 14 wins. Not to mention, that was also the season where we had a 28-game losing streak. And this Pistons team is on pace to win 44 games, meaning they're not going to just break the Boston Celtics record, but they're going to be the first team in NBA history to ever triple their amount of wins from one season to the next. I'm not good at math, for those that know. But 14 times 3 is 42. For those that know. If the Pistons get better than 42 wins this year, which they're currently on pace to, that's triple the amount of wins they've had last season, and that's an NBA record. No team has ever tripled the amount of wins that they got the previous season. But these Pistons could do it. Barring a catastrophic injury, God forbid a catastrophic injury happens, this Pistons team could break an NBA record, set an NBA record, and then be the host team to a playoff series. The Pistons get fourth. We're hosting games. We have home court advantage in the first round of the NBA playoffs. Again, we're a game and a half back of the Pacers. The Bucks, I think, are going to degress a little bit. I really do think the Bucks are going to degress now that they lost Bobby Portis Jr. They're currently losing right now. They're losing 87-78. The Pacers won today. Pacers are a tricky team. I feel like they can be good, and then there are times that they can be really bad. But the Pacers also won today, but that's also besides the point. The Pistons could. I think fifth seed is now the objective for them. And they're already getting a lucky break tomorrow when they get back to action finally. They are playing in San Antonio tomorrow, and they don't even have to deal with Victor Wembanyama anymore because Wembanyama's out for the year. You know, prayers up to him. I love Wembanyama. He should have been in Detroit if it wasn't for the corrupt NBA draft lottery, but that's besides the point. I think blood clot in his shoulder. So hoping that he's okay, but that makes him out for the rest of the year. But this is a game where the Pistons have to take advantage and come out the gate out of All-Star Weekend swinging. You go up 30-26. If the Bucks lose tonight and the Pistons win tomorrow, we are in the 5th seed slot. And I don't think the team's going to turn around. You want to know what the Pistons' schedule is for the rest of this month? I will share with you what their schedule is for the rest of this month once my screen decides to load. I should But I had said at the beginning of the month or at the end of January that the Pistons have a very favorable February, and they continue to do so. Again, for the rest of the month, they have 5 more games this month. Spurs, Hawks, Clippers, Celtics, Nuggets. Maybe that's not as favorable as I thought. The point is, Spurs tomorrow, I think they should take advantage of the fact that Wembanyama's not there. You have the Hawks on Sunday, which I'm sure the Pistons are going to be out for revenge on that one because they lost on a Trae Young heartbreaker earlier this month. Then you got the Clippers. Clippers are high. I think you can beat the Clippers. You have the Celtics. I think that one's a loss. And the Nuggets could be hit or miss. I mean, we beat the Nuggets earlier, I think at the end of December when I thought we were going to lose to them. You could easily go 4-1 in the rest of February. And then do you know what you start off with in March? Nets, Jazz, Clippers, Warriors, Blazers. Then you have the Wizards back-to-back until you finally face a competent team in the Thunder. But then guess who you play after the Thunder? You play the Pelicans, the Heat, the laughingstock of the league, Mavericks. You got the Pelicans again. And then you have the Wembanyama-less Spurs again. And then you face another real team in the Cavs and the Timberwolves to finish off. I thought March was an easy schedule, or February was an easy schedule, but oh my God, looking at March, you get the Wizards on a back-to-back. This team could be sitting in 4th by the end of March. They could be sitting in 4th, because here's the thing. I think the teams in the top 3 of the East are set. You got the Cavs at 1, you have the Celtics at 2, and then the Knicks at 3. And the Knicks don't necessarily scare me at all. But then you have Pacers, Bucks, Pistons. The Magic aren't going to come back. You're currently up 2.5 games, I think, on the Magic right now. I think the Magic aren't really going to come back. You got the Bucks, who are now, I think, going to start regressing. And then now you just have the Pacers between you and the Knicks. And you have a very favorable month of March. For shits and giggles, let's look at April. April, you got the Thunder again. You have the Raptors, the Grizzlies, the Kings, the Knicks, and then the Bucks on a back-to-back to finish. Which I think, funny enough, those last 2 games for the Bucks were probably the games that Bobby Portis comes back. But by then, the Pistons should be so far ahead that it doesn't matter. And maybe this is me being too high on the Pistons right now. Maybe I'm giving them way too much credit. Yes, they're 29-26. We're having a fun season with the guys, but they aren't quite there yet. So maybe I'm way too in over my head. Maybe I'm drinking a lot of Pistons Kool-Aid. There haven't been a lot of Lions Kool-Aid to drink lately. I'm drinking the Pistons Kool-Aid. But they're just a fun team to watch. And they love being here. Malik Beasley. Oh my God. Trajan Langdon. I know you're not listening, but if you ever just happen to stumble for whatever reason upon this show, get Malik Beasley a new contract. He wants to be here. There's video of him today. I think he was hanging out with Neon, popular streamer, and he's just raving about Detroit. Just raving. He was excited to show Neon the training facility, saying that we have the best training facility in the entire association. He wants to be here. He keeps constantly saying, get me a new contract. I want to be in Detroit. This man wants to be here. And I get it. We can't just sign anybody who says they want to be in Detroit. Because I'm sure people would love to say that. I'm sure there's a lot of G League players that are like, oh, I'd love to be in Detroit, but they're not worthy of being here. But this is where Malik Beasley is different. He is worthy of being in Detroit. He's already made his impact felt. I don't think the Pistons have the season they're having without him, first and foremost. And he wants to be here. He wants to be part of what we got going on because guess what? I think the Pistons train only gets better and better from here on out. He wants to be here. We got to keep him here. You know how long it's been for somebody tied to the Pistons saying, I want to be here? Blake Griffin doesn't count. He was traded here. He had no choice. He just chose to be the bigger man in the situation. He wants to be here. And we got to honor that. I really do think we got to honor that. That is the attitude we need with this Pistons team. Oh, Canada just scored. Dang. It is 2-2, ladies and gentlemen. The Canadians have struck again. Woo! What a breakdown. 6 minutes left in the second, but we are looking at 2-2, folks. Man. No shot. Bad transition defense from Team USA. Anyways, Malik Beasley, we got to have you here. We got to have you here. Yeah, this game is going to kill me. I mean, I don't mind Canada as a country, but I want to beat them in their own damn sport. This is like if Canada were to beat us in like football or something. That'd be a disgrace. God, we got to get one back. Anyways, Malik Beasley, I love you. Trajan Langdon, if you're watching the show, re-sign him. Lifetime contract. I don't care. Just keep him here. All right. When we come back, guys, we are going to be doing a part 2 of the college basketball roundup that I did at the beginning of the season, beginning of the year. We're going to be checking in on some teams, and then we're going to finish with the preview of the biggest game so far for both Michigan and Michigan State as they are facing each other. Once again, you guys are watching Gritsville USA right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back.
What's happening, sports fans? Are you a fan of Southern California sports? Are you looking for a show hotter than a hot summer day in California? Then look no further than the SoCal Supreme Sports Show, where I talk about all things Southern California sports. That's right, all sports teams from Southern California. From the hard-hitting tackles of the NFL, to the killer crossovers and big three-pointers of the NBA and WNBA, to the grand slams of the MLB, to the bone-chilling goals of the NHL, and to the booming kicks of the MLS. The SoCal Supreme Sports Show has it all for you. Oh, and let us not forget about the college sports as well. So join me, Taryn Rodriguez, every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Hockey fans, I'm Adam Kernick.
And I'm Zach Puplis.
Together, we are the newest version of Hockey Talk on IE Sports Radio, The Neutral Zone.
Zone.
We love hockey, but we also know it's not everyone's first sport. So we want to make this show as much for new fans as for the diehards.
Whether you can name all the Swedes on the 08 Red Wings Stanley Cup team, or if you can't tell if Varlamov is a goalie or the latest trendy vodka, we're here to help. With facts, figures, and outrageous fans, we bring you all the hard-hitting hockey news you can handle, while still keeping it fun and on the rails. Well, mostly.
So tune in every week as we go around the hockey world, from college to Canada, the minors and the majors, and everywhere in between.
So bring your cellies,
And your one-timers,
you wicked wristas.
and be sure to protect your five-hole.
Catch the Neutral Zone every week on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
We promise not to pick on the Arizona Coyotes every episode.
All right, guys, welcome back to Gritsville, USA, right here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We're going to finish up with some college basketball, but first, like I had said right before the break, we're going to do college basketball roundup part 2, where we check in on all of our D1 Michigan teams. And we're going to start off in the Horizon League. We're just going to be quick with it, not like I have a whole speech prepared for each of these teams other than the final 2. But we're going to start off in the Horizon League with Detroit Mercy Titans. They're currently sitting at 8-19. They are 4-12 in the Horizon. That's good enough for 10th. Yeah, their season's over. We'll try again next year. Thank you, guys. Then now we got the Oakland University Golden Grizzlies, who are sitting at 12-15, but they are sitting at 9-7 in the Horizon, which is good for 6th. I mean, they're not going to make the tournament, barring a miraculous round. You don't have Jack Golke this time around. Sorry, guys. But hey, we'll try again next year. On to the MAC Conference. You got the Central Michigan Chippewas. Currently sitting at 11-15, 4-9. That's good enough for 9th in the MAC. They still got a chance, because for those that remember, the first college basketball roundup I said, between Central, Eastern, and Western, whoever finishes with the best MAC record, I will get their hat and I will wear it for one show. I will. Central Michigan, they're at the bottom of the 3 right now. But next up, we got Western Michigan at 9-17. That's 6-7 in the MAC, good enough for 8th. Good job, Broncos, I guess. But then we have the Eastern Michigan Eagles sitting at 13-13, also 6-7. And they're 7th in the MAC. So they have the same record in the MAC as Western Michigan. I think they just got the leg up because they got the better overall record. But, it doesn't matter if Western still finishes one game up in the MAC above Eastern. I'm wearing that Broncos hat, baby. All right. Last 2. Big Ten. The Michigan State Spartans are sitting at 21-5. That's 12-3 in the Big Ten. Good enough for 2nd. And last but not least, your Michigan Wolverines sitting at 20-5, 12-2 record in the Big Ten, and that's good enough for 1st in the Big Ten. Which leads on to the final portion of our evening. Tomorrow night, Michigan State versus Michigan at the Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor. Absolutely massive matchup between these two. You got Michigan State sitting ranked 14th. You got Michigan ranked 12th. I mean, this is the biggest matchup in college hoops in the state of Michigan in a long time. Absolutely long time. Didn't expect to see Michigan in this situation to start the year off, but they're here. They're currently leading the Big Ten. Michigan State, though, not far behind. The winner of tomorrow is going to be in the driver's seat of the Big Ten. But let's start off with MSU. So with the Michigan State Spartans, they are coming off 2 impressive wins against Illinois and Purdue. Illinois, they were down significantly in the first half, but they got the momentum. They turned up the intensity in the second half, and they finished off the win in Illinois. They had a very impressive win against Purdue the other night. And again, that was their final game played, where we leave off in Ann Arbor. Kohler, it seems like now he's finally showing up for those that have kind of been waiting for him. But he's here now. But now we're going to move on to the Michigan Wolverines. Where did we last leave off with the Wolverines? Michigan is riding a 6-game winning streak, albeit all 6 of those games, they have won all of them by 4 points or less. So they could very easily be 0-6 in the last 6 games. But they're closing out games. It's not fun with them a lot of the times. They make it more interesting than it needs to be. But wins are wins. You take a win wherever you can get them. They got 6 of them right now. And that's what we're currently looking at. That's how we got the records that we have for them. Now, keys to the game. How can each of these teams win? And I will say straight up right now, MSU has more ways of winning than I think U of M does. Because U of M has some glaring holes, but MSU kind of overall could easily, if you flip those around, they could easily lose this game. But we're going to start off with MSU first. So how can MSU win this game? First and foremost, you got to take Michigan's biggest weakness. And their weakness is pretty well known. Michigan cannot stop turning the ball over. They have a massive turnover problem. And that's how they let all these teams hang around. There are some games where I see, oh, cool, Michigan's up 10, Michigan's up 15. And then it's like, holy shit, they're losing by 2. And then they still somehow win. And, you know, that's in huge favor to Danny Wolf and Goldine. But still, when Michigan starts turning the ball over, it's like a drip. It's like a leaky faucet. It can burst, and it will not stop. And that's gonna be the biggest thing MSU can take away from this game. They got a couple other things they can work on too. I named one of them. If you shut down Danny Wolf, you might have a chance. That could also open up a problem, but it's also going to depend on if Michigan's up for it. But I'll go into that a little bit when I talk about Michigan and how Michigan can win this game. But if you shut down Danny Wolf, who is arguably Michigan's best player, you got a very good shot. Because if you shut him down, then you're beating Michigan on the glass. And Michigan on the glass is not very good. What is one of MSU's strong points? Winning on the glass. Winning the boards. They are very good at that offensively and defensively. I thought Canada was about to score, sorry. But they are very good at that offensively and defensively. MSU can do that. But then the biggest thing also for MSU, other than the turnovers, is capitalizing on momentum. MSU is a very momentum-heavy team. When they're down, they are down. But when they're on, they are on. And that could very well hope that MSU can do that. That is, they can ride the momentum and then take advantage of the turnovers. Ooh. A little breakaway, but not quite. But yeah, they can take advantage of the turnovers, have momentum be on their side. MSU is looking pretty good. Not going to lie. Now, how can Michigan win this game? How can Michigan win? They got a couple chances. Ooh. They got a couple ways they can win this game. No lie. And basically, it's going to come down to basically the one way that MSU can win this game. Protect the damn ball. And unfortunately, that's the biggest thing that they can't really do right now. But hey, I've seen miracles happen. I've seen weird things happen. But that's mainly the big thing for Michigan. There's something else I want to say, but that's in all honesty, the biggest thing. Michigan protects the ball. They can very easily win this game. A lot of their opponents' points comes from the turnovers. I haven't looked to see what the turnover to point ratio is, but I'm pretty sure it's very high with U of M. But another way that Michigan can win this game is that you force Michigan State to take threes, and then you also beat them with the threes. Now, this is where Danny Wolf can come into play. And this also applies to Goldine. 5 seconds left in the second period, then we'll go right into this. Canada was threatening a bit, but period's over, second intermission. By the time the third period starts, the show will be over. Oh, they want to fight again. Yeah, but the show will be over before you guys tune in for the third period. We'll all be watching. But again, back to how Michigan can win. So, like I said, with how MSU can win, if they shut down Danny Wolf, you got a pretty good shot. But then that kind of also creates a problem for Michigan State. You shut down Wolf, and then by extension, you shut down Goldine. You get defenders on him. You're leaving the perimeter open for Michigan shooters. And Michigan has some shooters. Michigan can shoot. The issue with MSU is they themselves cannot shoot the ball at all. They are terrible from the three. Abysmal from the three. I think in the game against Illinois, they shot 4 for like some double-digit number. It was just terrible. Doesn't matter. I'm not an MSU fan. I'm not going to look into what every little stat. I just know that they're bad from the three. So if you are forcing MSU to shoot from there, meaning you're protecting the paint, you're protecting the interior, and you force them to take threes, chances are they're not going to make them, and that's where you can get all those points back. You allow them to shut down Danny Wolf and Goldine, you might have a shot because MSU won't be able to keep up. And threes, as we know, is a huge momentum shift in basketball in general. You get hot from the three-point line, you can quickly change the game like that. And MSU doesn't have that advantage. Don't have that advantage whatsoever. I would like to think that that's going to be Michigan's game plan, but I don't know. Which leads to my prediction for tomorrow. I'm very excited for this game. I'm going to be probably missing the first half of it due to work, but I'll definitely be tuning in for the second half to see how it ends. I do very much anticipate it to be close. It's not by any means, shape, or form. I don't think one team's going to blow out the other. It's going to be close. And I leave you with this prediction. For those that follow my Twitter page, for those that have known me my whole life, I am a Michigan fan. And I'm not like a fanatic Michigan fan. I'm not like one of those a-holes that are Michigan fans. No offense to anybody out there that's watching. Don't mean to tear you down, but like I didn't go to U of M. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I'm a Michigan man. I didn't go to U of M. So it doesn't scream to me like that, like how it does with anybody else. But I love Michigan. I do. I love the Wolverines. I'm happy when they do good. I get upset just like how every other fan would when they're doing terrible. But I'm not like, oh my God, die hard like I am with the Lions or what have you, with the Tigers. However, I have to give it to the Spartans. I think the Spartans will win this game. I'm predicting a score of 85-83. The thing that scares me with Michigan the most is the fact that they can't stop turning the ball over. And I really do think when Michigan State is, when they're on, they are on. And they don't look back. And I think if you allow Michigan State to get a couple turnovers on you, either early in the second half or you keep it close, those turnovers are going to bite you in the ass. I think they have a game plan set for not only just shutting down Wolf and Goldine, but also stopping you guys from the perimeter. Michigan State has no choice but to beat Michigan inside the paint because they're not going to do it from the 3, and that's fine. Because what good is a couple Michigan threes if they have 5 turnovers in the span of 3 minutes? And I think, personally, the turnovers are going to bite them in the ass. I really do. So it pains me to say that MSU will probably win tomorrow. It is what it is. I think we finish off the Big Ten season in East Lansing. We'll get them then. But my prediction for tomorrow, Michigan State 85, Michigan 83. And that's where we're going to leave it off. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. So good to be back. Like I said at the beginning of the show, it felt like a really long 2 weeks since I've done the show. I'm like, my fiance was like, it's been a minute since you've done the show. I'm like, it's felt that way, hasn't it? It felt like it's been like a month since I've done it. But super glad to be back tonight. And we did it. We made it through the first ever show without having a Lions segment. I knew I could do it. I knew you guys would tune in for it. So again, I appreciate you guys. We are just a Lions show. Yes, they're the big, even when the season's done, they're still the big talk of the town. But thank you guys so much for tuning in and still listening to what I have to say about everything else. Thank you guys also for live reacting with me to the Four Nations Championship. Glenn, thank you so much. I really enjoy your show as well. Would love to do some collabs even outside of football. But because I know once football season comes, you're my number one enemy. I hate the Vikings. You're a great guy, though. Appreciate you for tuning in. Larry, as always, thank you so much. Couldn't do this without you and your support. Not only my show, but every other show in IE Sports Radio. Man, it is a good time. It is a good time. We got Pistons basketball back tomorrow. Saturday, we got the Wings back. Tigers spring training is kicking off. Opening day is going to be coming faster than we know it. And I am so excited for Tigers baseball. That's what's really going to rule all of like the summer. Once we got hockey and basketball season over with, all up until football starts, we're going to be very baseball heavy. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, if you guys want to be part of our supporters club, or specifically the Gritsville USA supporters club, link is down at the bio, or go to Spreaker.com. Look up Gritsville USA for $5 a month. I want to start getting to the exclusive content part for you guys. So maybe some quick little like episodes for y'all, for those that care about my input on things. I know I'm somebody that talks fast. I talk loud. I have a lot to say. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Once again, you can find me on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, at Gritsville_IESR. And then you guys also know the deal as well. You can follow us on X, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. We are there. Check out all the great shows we got going on. We have so much going. It's going to be a big year of IE Sports Radio. Let me tell you guys. Super excited to be with you guys next week. Again, we are here now on Thursday night. Same time, 9 p.m. Eastern. We are there. Love you guys. Watching Gritsville USA right here on IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all of the sports. Have a good night.